The RX150 class within the Toyo tyres MSA British Rallycross Championship always delivers plenty of entertainment, even if Chrissy Palmer is normally the man to beat. Here at Pembrey, guess who's the man to beat at the end of qualifying? It's that man Palmer, ahead of Steve Jones, but John Ward was the fastest in Q3. He's third ahead of Georgia Shields and guest entry Andrew Coley. So the final is about to get underway for the RX150s. It's 6 laps, the grid is formed. Chrissy Palmer on pole, Steve Jones and John Ward alongside Georgia Shields, and Rallycross and Rally broadcaster Andrew Coley on the second row of the grid. Chrissy Palmer, man to beat. Is he going to be dominant again here? Let's find out as the lights go green and they blast away. Palmer it is, away like a scalded cat. He leads on the run towards Honda Curve, but John Ward, BTRDA champion, tries to find a way around the outside, but the Irishman is sideways and he can't really do it. Palmer then has the advantage, and he hits the loose in the lead. 1000cc motorbike engine buggies, the RX150s. There's a lot of power, there's not much weight, they're very spectacular to drive, and up to third has gone Coley at the expense of Steve Jones already. Georgia Shields slipped back into 5th place. So Palmer leading the way, but John Ward knows that he's got to really go some here to try and make a move for the race lead. The regulars being shown the way in part by Andrew Coley up into 3rd place. He's raced one of these before, but it's the first time out this season as they come back to tarmac then. And up front, Chrissy Palmer versus John Ward as they dive down towards the hairpin for the end of the opening lap. Steve Jones, though, hunting down Coley, looking for a way to get past him. Former rally driver to broadcaster Andrew Coley goes a little bit deep and sideways into the hairpin, but is able to cut across and hang on to the line. Here comes Jones up the inside, and that's going to give him 3rd place as they head past the pits down towards Honda Curve again. The two race leaders are almost together once more, leaning on the suspension, Palmer versus Ward. And now that Jones has got himself back up into 3rd place, it looks as though he's getting away a little. Across the loose, lap 2 of 6. Palmer leading the way. Coley gets all sideways as he hits the ruts there, but Jones just within reach in 3rd place. The lead gap has come right down, hasn't it? John Ward is right there behind Chrissy Palmer now, looking to see whether he can make a move. Across the loose they come. Chrissy Palmer, Formula Ford Festival winner. He's been a front runner and a champion in things like Mazda MX-5s and Formula Fords in circuit racing. He came across to RX150s really because it was all his budget would allow, but he has been the benchmark driver now. Double champion. Looks as though a 3rd crown's going to be on the cards here as well at the end of this season. There behind him is John Ward, and he comes up towards the line. Having been close on the loose, he's dropped back a little bit over the remainder of the lap. Through they come now. Steve Jones is 3rd, trying to get away from the pack behind, but he's not really being able to close on these two up front, is he? As across the loose they come, it is still Chrissy Palmer leading the way, and although John Ward does his level best under braking to close, Palmer, very much the master of RX150s, is able to fend him off. Across the loose they bounce once again, but all it takes is one rut to be hit and you bounce out wide, and suddenly the chap behind is going to be back into contention. And John Ward did look a little bit closer there as they came across that loose surface once again, but on the tarmac Palmer is away and gone. He starts to build up the advantage once more. There is John Ward in 2nd place. It's been a really frustrating sort of a season for Ward. We know he's got the speed, we know he's got the ability, but at every turn he's come up against Chrissy Palmer. He did win at Lyddon early on in the year, but that was really because Palmer had problems. Mark Scott was a winner at Mondello Park, and that also had partly to do with Chrissy Palmer being in the walls that weekend. There is John Ward in 2nd spot then, Steve Jones 3rd, and he is a little bit nearer to him. Across the loose they come, running together for the race lead, but John Ward's ability to stay on the back of Chrissy Palmer looks like it's coming to an end now, because there is Palmer, and as he comes across the loose, dancing his way over that mixed surface, he is starting to edge further away from John Ward in 2nd spot now. So the gap is widening between the top two. A mistake from Palmer would bring John Ward back into the mix, but it does look as though Chrissy has managed to build up enough of a gap. The two race leaders through together down to the hairpin. Now what's happened to Steve Jones? Was it him that ran wide coming back onto tarmac? Ward is going wide and sideways there. And look behind, there is Steve Jones. He did go wide and he has lost ground. He's still 3rd, but with work to do to get himself back into the mix now. 4th through is Georgia Shields, And then Andrew Coley, after his good start to the race, has faltered. He's down in 5th place. Chrissy Palmer then is heading for another win. This would be his 5th of the season. He won at Croft, he won at Pembrey earlier on in the year when we were here, he won one of the 2 Mondello rounds, and then again last time out at Lyddon. He's nothing really else to prove in RX150s, but the trouble is the budget's not there for him to move up. If he were to be given a chance in a supercar, I know I say it every time, but it really would be fascinating to see how he would get on, because there's lots of ability, there's just not much funding. And so RX150s is where Chrissy Palmer can afford to race, but he keeps on winning, he keeps on scoring championship titles. There really is nothing left to prove as he comes down to the hairpin, flicks the car through the left-hand hairpin and up towards the timing line with John Ward still doing the chasing. A lap to run. Chrissy Palmer looks good up front. There is Georgia Shields and Andrew Coley coming back at her now. Georgia Shields in that University of Bolton car is sideways and wide, and Coley goes through, back up into 4th place now. Onto the last lap they go, new order. Andrew Coley takes back the spot, Georgia Shields slots in behind. Now can she do anything about the guest driver on this last lap, I wonder? Once he's ahead, in fact, Andrew Coley starts to get away by a few lengths as Chrissy Palmer, on and off the lock, comes across the loose for the last time. John Ward looking a little bit nearer. The gap has come down between the two. And has Palmer got a problem? Has a tyre come off the rim? It has! He's got a puncture on the last lap of the race, and John Ward goes through in a very sideways. Chrissy Palmer, with the wheel rim exposed, is down in 2nd place. And within, 3 corners of the end, suddenly it is John Ward who will come through to score victory. And that was a win out of nowhere. John Ward wins for the 2nd time this season then, here at Pembrey. He had a win early on in the year at Lyddon. At Pembrey he is a winner as well. 3rd will go the way of Steve Jones ahead of Andrew Coley and then Georgia Shields, but high drama right at the very end of the race. A puncture for Palmer. Sometimes there's just no justice, is there? John Ward wins, 2 seconds clear of Chrissy Palmer, then Steve Jones ahead of Andrew Coley and Georgia Shields. In the championship, Chrissy Palmer still leads, and he's got 30 points in hand over John Ward. Steve Jones is 3rd and Georgia Shields 4th, with Brett Harris in 5th spot.